7 Daily Habits to Live Longer After 65 Secrets to a Happy and Healthy Senior Life. Dear all, when we turn 65, perhaps each of us has sat down for a while, quietly watching the gentle afternoon sunlight shining through the window, and wondered, what will the next years of life be like? Will we slow down, become weaker, or will we still have time to do the things we always wanted, like going for a walk every morning, cooking a warm meal with our own hands, or simply enjoying a peaceful day with our children and grandchildren? In fact, age is just a number. What really determines the quality of life after 65 is the habits we maintain every day. No need for big changes, just small actions repeated correctly and regularly. You will find yourself more alert, healthier, and live longer naturally and happily. Today, we will explore together 7 daily habits that can prolong life, especially after 65. And I don't just want to share, I want us to talk, like old friends sitting on the porch, sipping tea, telling each other what we have learned, what we have done, and what we can start today. Let's start this journey with the first habit, a habit that seems very ordinary, but has a profound impact on our longevity and happiness. I remember one time, an old friend named George, from Tennessee, called me and said, "I don't work anymore, there's nothing to do. Time passes so slowly." Hearing that, I laughed. "So have you tried walking?" He hesitated, "Yes, but only a few steps," and then turned back. And that is the first habit I want to mention, walking gently every day. Sounds simple, right? But did you know, just 30 minutes of walking every day, no need to be fast, no need to be far, just regularly, you have significantly reduced the risk of cardiovascular disease, blood pressure, stroke, and even memory loss. There is a study by Harvard Medical School that followed more than 12,000 older people for 10 years, and the results were surprising. Those who maintained the habit of walking every day had a mortality rate of up to 35% lower than those who were sedentary. That is a scientific number, but behind it is a very practical thing. Our bodies need to be awakened every day with movement, and walking is the cheapest but most effective medicine. Walking also helps us sleep better at night. Especially, if you can walk early in the morning, catch the first sunlight of the day, natural light will adjust the internal biological clock, helping the body feel more clearly when it is time to be awake and when it is time to rest. A day that starts with a walk is a day that you have given yourself the opportunity to live a healthier life. And you can invite your partner to go with you, or just need a hat and a pair of soft shoes. Walk in the park near your house, or around the neighborhood, listen to the birds singing, breathe deeply, that is exercising both your body and mind. After George started walking every day, only 3 weeks later, he called back, this time with a very different voice, "I sleep better, eat better. I don't toss and turn at night anymore." I know, he has just taken another step, not only on the daily walk, but also on the path to longevity and happiness. And from walking, we move on to another thing, seemingly simple but few people pay attention to, drinking enough water every day. I know, many of us often think, "I'm not that thirsty, I drink a lot and have to go to the bathroom all the time." But this is something we need to change in our thinking. Because as we get older, the feeling of thirst is not as sharp as before, and that is why many older people live in a state of dehydration without even realizing it. Water not only helps cool the body, it also helps blood circulate better, helps joints lubricate, supports the digestive system, and especially helps the brain function better. A study at the University of Connecticut showed that just 1 to 2% lack of necessary water intake has significantly affected the ability to concentrate and short-term memory. Have you ever found yourself being forgetful recently? Not sure where you put your glasses, or what you were about to say but forgot? Maybe the reason is simply because you are dehydrated. So how much is enough? On average, an older person should drink about 1.5 to 2 liters of water per day, that is, about 6 to 8 small glasses. But remember, there is no need to force yourself to drink at once. Just divide it evenly throughout the day. Put the glass of water near where you sit, like the head of the table, next to the sofa, so that it is easy to remember to drink small sips. If you do not like plain water, you can use warm water, add a slice of lemon or a little honey. It is easy to drink and good for digestion. I often prepare a pot of warm water in the morning, then add a few thin slices of ginger. The aroma of ginger makes me feel comfortable and alert all day. Thanks to this habit, I have fewer cramps, and my skin is also more rosy even though I am over 70 years old. Walking helps us exercise. Drinking water helps our body smooth from the inside out. And the next habit, which helps keep our minds sharp and cheerful, is social connection, chatting with others every day. Many people think that old age is a time to stay quiet and avoid noise. But in fact, humans, no matter what age, are creatures of connection. We need conversations, laughter, nods of agreement, to feel present, useful, and part of this life. Have you noticed that the days when we call old friends, or sit and chat with our children and grandchildren, or simply go out on the porch to say hello to a neighbor, we often feel lighter and happier? That is the mental vitamin that we sometimes forget. A study by the University of Michigan shows that older people with positive social relationships will live an average of 7 years longer than those who live in isolation. Not to mention, talking every day is also a great way to train your memory. You have to listen, think, respond. That is how the brain is gently but effectively activated. I have a friend named Linda who lives in California. She has a habit of video calling 3 friends every week for 30 minutes, just to talk about the grocery store, the plants in the garden, the new cake she just baked. And yet, she told me, those calls give me something to look forward to each week. You don't need a lot of people, just one friend to talk to, or a group of light activities, like a reading group, a yoga group, a chess group, is enough to keep your heart and mind alive. Now, do you see? We've talked about 3 simple habits that anyone can start today: walking, drinking enough water, and staying socially connected. Nothing too difficult, nothing too strenuous, just a little perseverance and self-love. Because living long is not just about living more years, it's about living healthy, living happily, and living meaningfully. We still have 4 more habits to explore, things that seem small, but can make a big difference in your and my aging journey. Now, let's move on to the next part, where we will explore the next habits that make each day more worth living than ever. Dear friend, now let me tell you a little story. There was an old man named Walter. He lived alone in the suburbs of Portland, Oregon. He was very healthy, but recently he complained of shoulder pain, back pain, and difficulty sleeping. I asked, "Do you do any exercise every day besides walking?" He smiled sadly, "No. I think walking is enough." But you know, sometimes walking is not enough. Because the human body, especially as we age, needs flexibility and suppleness, and that is why I want to emphasize the 4th habit after 65, stretching and doing gentle stretching exercises every day. Have you noticed that as we get older, our bodies feel more and more shrinking? It is difficult to reach high, our shoulders get tired easily, our back is difficult to straighten, our legs creak when we stand up. But these things are not just because we are old. In fact, they are because our muscles and joints are not used properly. Imagine the body as a machine. If you leave it standing still, without oiling it, without using it, the joints will become stiff, rusty, and even stuck. And stretching, shoulder extension, wrist rotation, gentle leaning, is the way to oil that precious machine. You don't need to go to the gym, yoga mat, or any machine. Just every morning, before breakfast, or every night before going to bed, spend 10 to 15 minutes stretching, raising both arms above the head, gently rotating the neck, rotating the shoulders, shaking the ankles, gently bending the body. These movements help improve blood circulation, reduce the risk of back pain, improve posture, and, most importantly, keep you free in your own body. A study by Yale School of Medicine once showed that elderly people who maintain gentle stretching every day will have a 23% lower risk of fracture when falling, because flexible muscles and joints help better control balance and reflexes. And you know, after a month of persistent stretching every morning, Uncle Walter called me and said, "I don't need to sit down to put on my shirt anymore. I can reach up to hang my coat." I used to think that I had to live with fatigue. Now I know that if I know how, I can still control my body. When the body is flexible and walking is steady, we also need to take care of another equally important system, the intestines and digestive system. And you won't be surprised if I say that the fifth habit for a long and healthy life is eat simple, balanced meals, and pay attention to fiber. Do you remember when you were young, your grandparents used to say, eat frugally to live long? It seems that this is not only advice but also something that science is proving today. After the age of 65, our digestive system often weakens. The stomach secretes less fluid, the intestines absorb less, and the liver doesn't work as fast as before. Therefore, fried, stir-fried, greasy, and heavily spiced foods make the digestive system even more tired. The best way to prolong life is to eat simply. Each meal has green vegetables, a little protein from fish, eggs, or beans, a little starch from brown rice, sweet potatoes, and especially a lot of fiber. Fiber not only helps with bowel movements and constipation, something that many older people often experience, but it also feeds beneficial bacteria in the gut. A healthy gut means a healthy immune system and a clearer mind. Did you know that 70% of the immune system is in the gut? So, a healthy gut means a healthy body. A 20-year study at the National Institute on Aging found that people who eat at least 25 g of fiber a day from vegetables, seeds, and whole grains live an average of 5 years longer than those who eat less. If you don't know where to start, just eat a bowl of oatmeal with a ripe banana every morning, adding chia seeds or flax seeds. Lunch can be vegetable soup and some braised fish, and a light dinner with pumpkin soup or oatmeal. No need to be fancy, no need to be fussy, just right and regular. And don't forget to drink warm water while eating, chew thoroughly, don't eat too quickly because the digestive system at this age needs to be cherished more than ever. Now do you see living long does not require anything big? Sometimes, just a healthy meal, a full glass of water, a light stretch is also an investment in long-term health. But there is one more thing, one that I believe can change both the quality of life and our longevity. And this is the thing that many people neglect the most. That is sleep. Yes, the sixth habit in this journey is maintain quality sleep regular, deep, and natural. I know, sleep in old age is often interrupted. It is easy to wake up early, difficult to fall back asleep. Or restless in the middle of the night because of nocturia, because of nightmares, or simply because. Get used to staying awake. However, sleep is the only time of day when the body is most deeply restored. During sleep, the brain clears waste, blood circulates more easily, and cells are repaired. If you get enough sleep, that is, about 7 hours a night, without waking up too often, you will see better memory, more stable mood, and even a reduced risk of diseases such as Alzheimer's, diabetes, and depression. A study at the University of California, Berkeley showed that older people who sleep deeply and regularly have up to 30% better memory and reflexes than people with sleep disorders. So how to sleep better? First, keep a fixed bedtime and wake time every day, even on weekends. Second, avoid watching your phone or TV close to bedtime. Blue light will disrupt your body clock. Third, create a ritual before bed. Drink a glass of warm milk, listen to soft music, read a few pages of a book, or take deep breaths in silence. And if possible, leave the window open to let some fresh air in. The cool air helps you sleep better. I still remember the old lady Martha in Arizona once said, "I don't need sleeping pills. I just listen to my husband's old jazz music before bed, and I sleep well." Sometimes, warm memories are the blanket that helps us sleep well. You see, we have just taken 3 more steps together on the journey to healthy living. Stretch to keep your body flexible. Eat simple and high-fiber foods to nourish your body from the inside. And keep sleep as a gift every night. These small steps, if maintained every day, will not only prolong your life, but also make each day more pleasant, comfortable, and joyful. But the journey does not end here. There is one last habit, something that seems easy but is the spiritual key to help us not only live long, but live with meaning. Let me continue to the final part, where we share the most important habit to live fully after 65, and this is also the thing that I believe is at the heart of it all. You know, I once met an old man. His name is Robert. He lives in the state of Colorado. He is 93 years old but can still drive himself to the supermarket, clean the garden, and especially, every morning he goes to the park near his house to teach drawing to the children in the neighborhood. I once asked, "Why are you still so healthy? Don't you feel tired?" He smiled and answered lightly, "Because I still have a reason to wake up every morning." And that is the seventh habit, also the habit that determines a long and meaningful life, that is, keeping a purpose in life, even if it is small, but always present. Just think, when we are young, life is full of goals: taking care of children, going to work, paying off debts, building a house, building a career. But then when everything gradually stabilizes, children grow up, we retire, those goals fade away. We easily fall into a void, a time that many people call idle, but sometimes it is lonely. And loneliness for a long time is not a gentle thing. A 7-year study at the University of Michigan found that older adults who had a clear purpose in life, whether it was gardening, journaling, helping neighbors, or volunteering, had a 30% lower risk of death than those who had no daily purpose. A purpose doesn't have to be anything grand. Sometimes it's just a reason to get out of bed in the morning. Something to do that makes you happy. Someone who makes you feel needed. I have an aunt named Linda who lives in California. She said, "When I retired, I felt like I was standing in the middle of a big house with nothing to do. But then I found out my grandson was bad at math. So I offered to tutor him every night. Since then, I've felt happier and more alert every day. It's like I'm a mom again." An older person with a purpose doesn't feel old. They feel like they're still living, not waiting for the end. So how do you find your purpose again? If you don't know where to start, here are some questions to ask yourself. Is there something you used to love doing but stopped doing long ago? Is there someone around you who needs help and you haven't been able to do it? Is there something you've been curious about and wanted to learn but never had the chance to? Is there something you've wanted to pass on to the next generation, an experience, a story, a skill? Some people only start learning to play an instrument after they turn 70. Some people open free cooking classes for the neighborhood kids. Some people write family memoirs. Some people knit scarves for a nursing home. And some people plant an apple tree just so that 10 years later, their grandchild can eat the first fruit. All of these are the purpose of life. And when we live with something that makes us feel useful, our hearts will become younger, our minds will become brighter, and our lifespan can even be extended by a dozen years, my friend. I know, sometimes old age also has its quiet moments. Sometimes it is the afternoons when the wind blows through the familiar trees, the days when old friends gradually disappear, or sometimes it is nameless sadness. But in all of these, the most beautiful thing you still have is time. And what we do with that time will determine how the rest of our lives will turn out. You don't need to do many things. Just one step every morning. One full glass of water. One call to a loved one. One stretch. One clean green meal. One deep sleep. And one small goal every day. That is the secret to longevity, not in the clinic, not in the medicine, but in the choices you make every day. Now, let me ask you something. What are you nurturing today? You can tell me in the comments below. I want to hear from you, not as a storyteller, but as a friend sitting with you, in the middle of a warm afternoon, sipping tea and telling each other some small but precious things. And if you find what I just shared useful, please like this video and subscribe to the channel so I know you are still here, still accompanying me on the journey of living healthy, living happily. We, those who have passed half of our lives, still have many wonderful things ahead. Old age is not the time to stop, but the time to start living with understanding, gentleness, and the fullest. Wishing you a happy, healthy, and meaningful life at every age. Thank you everyone for listening. Goodbye and see you again.